Well, tonight on Here and Now, for months they've been living in tents in the St. John's Park, and now that encampment is gone.
After months of talk about what to do, the province has dismantled a homeless tent camp in downtown St. John's.
There was no consultations with residents. We still believe that there's inadequate housing that people are being offered and as their only solution. And I certainly want to see Tent City end, but I never wanted to see it. I never wanted to see it end this way.
I'll have more on that just ahead.
Our upbringing was a little unique, with a dad traveling from Newfoundland weekly to be part of the NHL world, and occasionally we got to tag along.
I've listened to him from one end of this country to the other, and there's nobody can touch him. He truly cared about the game, cared about the players.
He's our hometown boy, and we took great pride every time he called the game.
Well, tonight, friends and family of Bob Cole are saying goodbye.
It does happen here, and it happens really close to us, and it happens more than we think.
Sunday is Red Dress Day, with events planned across the province to recognize missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. The province has cleared out a homeless tent encampment in St. John's, shutting it down completely after months of talk about how to help the people living there. The Transportation Department posted signs earlier this week banning tents and other structures from the property. And today, workers and police came in to dismantle the tents and pack up the site. Here and Now's Enrique Wilhelm has the details.
This was the scene earlier today at the tent encampment in St. John's.
This is the biggest failure for homeless people that I've ever seen by government.
People there woke up to a temporary fence this morning, closing in the parking lot and the tents behind the Colonial building. Government workers and police came shortly after and started packing up tents and belongings without any warning.
As far as I understand, there was no direct communications with residents here saying, we're going to start clearing tents. They also didn't know about the barricades. They just woke up this morning and the barricades were here.
Transportation and Infrastructure Minister John Abbott has a different take. He says they communicate daily with the people living there, and workers only removed empty tents left behind by those people who accepted alternative accommodations last night.
We've had multiple conversations with them. We hear what they're saying. I don't think they're hearing what we're saying, but so be it. And what we asked our contractor to do this morning was to go in, remove those tents, secure them if needed, make sure any personal belongings were held separately, and they would be provided to those individuals. There is no forced people being forced from their tents. If they wish to stay, they are doing that.
But volunteers at the site are worried about those who still don't have anywhere else to go.
Now what we're going to see is folks not go to shelters, and they're going to end up, alone in tents in other parts of the city or in other parts of the province, and it's unacceptable.
Abbott says the department is working to meet individual requirements, but ultimately the goal is to dismantle the encampment permanently with a firm stance on future encampments.
If we are successful in working with them, then there will be no need for the encampment. We'll obviously have the site secure, but we will not allow any further camping at that site or any other public lands across in the city or across the province.
Hours after the removal of tents began, the land between Colonial Building and Bannerman Park is now cleared out. Housing advocate Mark Wilson says that's a testament to missed opportunities to provide people here with basic necessities and to collaborate on long-term solutions. Enrique Wilhelm, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, family members, friends, and fans of the late Bob Cole gathered in St. John's today for the funeral of the broadcasting icon.
It has been a true privilege to share our amazing dad with this province he loved so much, with the country and with the world of hockey. We are heartbroken.
Cole died last week at the age of 90. Over his 50-year career, he provided the soundtrack to hockey on Saturday nights. And despite traveling weekly for work across this country and the United States, Cole continued to call St. John's home. In similar fashion, former athletes and fellow commentators made the trip to Cole's hometown for his final send-off. Here Now's Mike Moore has that story.
It is Joe Sakic scores! Joe Sakic scores! Surely that's gotta be it.
In Christ Jesus our Lord.
Bob Cole called big games in the temples of pro hockey. Today at his church, the historic St. Thomas Anglican Church in Old St. John's, it was time for goodbye. And it's not easy to find the words for a man who made the ice come alive with his poetry.
We will never hold a candle to our dad's ability to weave a story, whether it was from the booth or our living room. This is a time I wish he were here to take this on, because he would deliver this moment brilliantly and in one take.
Hockey season, Saturday nights, saw Cole at work. The day after, that was something else.
Every weekend growing up, Dad would leave on Thursday or Friday. He would travel away every fall, winter, and spring. He would travel to whatever city the game was at that he was doing, meet the coaches, chat to some players, gather some intel, perhaps, back to the hotel, prepare, back to the rink, hot mic, go, do the game, back to the hotel, possibly have a rum and coke with his dear friend Ron McLean. Back to Newfoundland, and where he'd come in the door, and it was probably dark and cold by this point. And he would come in, and that was our signal, dinner time, Sunday dinner. We'd gather around a tiny wooden kitchen table, and it was rather tiny. The six of us would be there, and we would say, "Dad, tell us a story." And it was then that he had his most captive audience.
Inside the church is packed shoulder to shoulder like a playoff game. A send-off from the man who shared so much time with Cole.
A good friend is somebody who will obviously tell you things you don't want to hear, and Bob would always do that. They will embolden you to become the person you were born to be, and Bob definitely did that for me. Even to the last Saturday, 4 days before Bob passed, he says, "You're doing a great job," even if I wasn't. He would always try and lift me, because belief lifts talent. A good friend is what Bob was and will always be. I just think about that open window to all these rinks around North America are like those icebergs floating down the coast. And actually, Bob, as much as we will remember your voice, we will never forget that gleam in your eye. That's what made you special, and that's why it was such an honor for all of us at Hockey Night in Canada to need you and to know you and to love you.
Bob Cole was the voice of the ice, but today there was warmth in the voices of those who came to say goodbye. Mike Moore, CBC News, St. John's.
And we will have more on Bob Cole's legacy ahead in 25 minutes. We'll hear from those he mentored, befriended, as well as some of his most dedicated fans. Well, experts say there's significantly less ice in coastal waters this year, and while an early spring may be exciting news for iceberg chasers, it has forced some longtime seal hunters to give up a traditional way of life. The CBC's Zachary Russell has more from Labrador.
Labradorians have been hunting seals for decades, for food and pelts. But now it's getting harder. Mina Campbell of Northwest River posted a picture on Facebook of her one and only sealskin this year.
I normally in springtime post any sealskins that I clean. Usually out on my deck I'll have 5 or 6, but this year I only have 1.
Campbell feels the hunt is over before it even starts.
So luckily for me, my brother got this one. He hunted, I think it was last week. And but right now, most of the seals are still too small. So you got to be a hunter that knows what they're looking for to see the seal before they try to hunt it, because I don't want seals with white coat on them. I want them that looks like this.
Traveling on ice is the main issue. Labrador has seen a lack of ice this winter due to warmer temperatures.
Well, normally we'd start hunting. Before, when I hunted with my uncles, like years ago, we wouldn't even think about it until April 25th, which was the old season. They used to say the season opens on the 25th, and it was a season. DFO opened the season. Last year, in the last few years, we've been starting to hunt around the 20th of April. So then I said, you still have to be particular in the seal that you're hunting. You want to see it up on the ice, make sure it's good and black and big before you hunt it. And now, it's April 23rd and the hunt is over.
Campbell says she hopes this doesn't continue, or she may lose part of her culture.
In my family, since time immemorial, I'd say, from generation to generation. And we hunt, it's a food hunt. And it's a communal gathering. It's a big part of our lives and our culture. We get out there, we get together with people. Young people will learn a lot of different life skills, not only about hunting, about having patience, about having respect for that. So there's lots of different things besides the hunt that's involved, or the meat or the hide. So it's a big part of our culture. And in this community, it's a huge thing. That's what people think about almost all winter. You look, I wonder what it's going to be like, for seal hunting this year, even before winter. Even in November, when the ice freezes first, you're wondering what it's going to be like in the spring for seal hunting.
Zachary Russell, CBC News, Northwest River.
A little bit drier of a day for areas along the northeast coast this afternoon. Temperatures, though, still quite chilly. Single digits for most of us. Seeing some warmer temperatures, not quite as warm as yesterday for the south and southwest, but you're still into the double digits, anywhere from 11 to 12 degrees. And up across Labrador, mainly above zero, just barely, though. Makovic and Nain still hovering there at the moment. So we've got lots of cloud cover up across the Big Land and across the island. Some showers working its way through central, and then some heavier showers on the west coast of the island right now as well. But that won't last too long, and it's definitely less foggy than it has been. We can actually see outside the Narrows at the moment. There is some fog out there, and that will move in as we head through tonight. We're still sitting at about 3 degrees. Those winds, that's the reason, northeasterlies gusting anywhere from 20 to as much as 30 kilometers per hour. But as we head through tonight, we are going to see that fog move back in. Tomorrow, we'll say goodbye to it for a little while. That will be the story into Sunday. And then by Monday, we'll start to see that on the south coast of the island. We'll talk about the forecast coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, 2 West Coast fishermen who died while setting lobster traps were remembered in the House of Commons in Ottawa.
Being a coastal province, we know that the sea does give it and sadly does take it away.
Well, that's Avalon MP Ken McDonald talking about 44-year-old Trevor Childs and his nephew, 26-year-old Nicholas Skinner. They were in a dory close to shore late last month when the boat capsized. Their deaths left the communities of Lark Harbour and York Harbour in mourning.
Both these young men loved the outdoors and all it offered. They were great contributors to their towns, always there to lend a hand. These tragedies impact everyone in small rural towns. In moments of loss, communities knit together to help the families heal and move on. Rest in peace, Trevor and Brody. Thank you.
Well, Sunday is Red Dress Day across the country. It's a day to recognize missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people. In Gander, there's a campaign to draw awareness. Here Now's Troy Turner has that story.
This Sunday is National Red Dress Day. It's a day with a heavy weight, but with an increasingly important reminder.
It's a day to acknowledge the disproportionate amount of gender-based violence that Indigenous people do experience, as well as an acknowledgement of the very many missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls within our country.
It does happen here, and it happens really close to us, and it happens more than we think.
Yeah, this sort of thing is in our own backyard. With all of the gender-based violence and the issues that we deal with on a regular basis, I think there's a lack of awareness to how close things actually are.
Red Dress Day was inspired in 2010 by Jamie Black, a Métis artist based in Winnipeg, Manitoba. She hung hundreds of empty red dresses in public places, each one a reminder of someone's pain.
A lot of times the Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirit people that go missing are often, I don't know if ignored is the right word, but a lot of times it's perceived that they just ran away, versus if a non-Indigenous person went missing or something, it's oftentimes taken a lot more seriously a lot sooner. Yeah, I think it's important to recognize that, so that if you do have an Indigenous person in your family that goes missing, that you're more inclined to push for that support when it's needed.
Gander groups have joined forces to improve some of that awareness. There will be displays around town to draw attention to the issue.
Sometimes it feels like they're improving, and other times not so much. You know, it's like the saying, 2 steps forward, one step back kind of thing. So I think they are changing to some degree. We definitely have a lot more work to do on all levels. But we're hopeful that by doing campaigns and spreading awareness that we do start seeing more of that change.
Around Gander this weekend, you can find Red Dress Day information booths and displays at the Gander Mall, the Steele Community Center, and here at Cows Pond Rotary Park. Troy Turner, CBC News, Gander.
Well, it's going to be another frustrating summer for some drivers in St. John's when construction begins again on Elizabeth Avenue. Starting Monday, crews will be working between Westerland Road and Freshwater Road, and the work includes installing new sidewalks and a paved shared-use path adjacent to Memorial University. But it also means traffic delays, detours, and lane reductions on one of the city's major roads. Canadian comedy icon and local legend Rick Mercer was celebrated in his hometown of Logie Bay, Middle Cove, Outer Cove today. It was part of his induction into the Canadian Walk of Fame.
Let me feel my Tory live to the broad Atlantic comber.
I don't think, well, I know for me anyway, I've never imagined anything like this happening. And I think even when you start out in show business, I was never one of those people that would practice an award speech in a mirror or anything like that. I always thought that God would strike you dead if you did that. So I never imagined anything like this. All the years I was doing the Mercer Report in Toronto, I'd come out of the subway and I'd walk by the Walk of Fame, or a section of it, and 9 times out of 10 I would say hello to Mr. Pinsent and make sure there was nothing on his star, and I was always quite chuffed that I knew someone personally that was on the walk, and so I never really imagined that it would be me there, and so this is quite an honor. I was your typical angry young man as a young performer. And, I wrote a book recently, and you have to reflect on life, and you realize that quite often you have more answers at 18 than you do at 50. Things are much grayer at 50, whereas many things are black and white at 18. I think there's a role for the angry young man, but I think it would be a little odd to continue being that person into your 50s. So it's just a different role you play. I just always have followed a few rules. I've never, in my work, I've never tried to kick down. I've always tried to avoid kicking down. And I just became really comfortable celebrating. That was what the Mercer Report was about, like celebrating individuals, celebrating communities, celebrating what was positive. I'm not a dumb guy. I know that there's problems with the country. I know sometimes we don't live up to, what we can possibly live up to. But at the same time, there's lots to celebrate. And I'm comfortable being that guy. I'm comfortable being that cheerleader. And I feel the same way about the province. It's not that our province is without problems, but, You know, I'm a super proud Newfoundlander. I'm proud to be from Newfoundland and Labrador, and I'm a proud Canadian, and a day like this means the world.
If you were going to do a rant today, what would it be about?
You know, I rant every day, around 5 o'clock on the phone with a few friends, and the times we live in, if anyone recorded those conversations, I'd be in serious trouble. Today, I would overwhelmingly, I'm filled with gratitude today. I'm grateful for the friends that showed up. I'm grateful that I got to grow up in a place like Middle Cove. You know, quite often when you're in the moment, when you're 10 or 12 or 14 or 16 going, I need a ride to town, you don't really appreciate what you have. And boy, I really appreciate the community I grew up in. And there's a lot of these communities around Newfoundland and Labrador, and we're very, very fortunate. Anyone who's fortunate enough to grow up in a place like this, they won the lotto.
Some musicians from this province took home hardware from the East Coast Music Awards last night. This is the Darina Harvey Band. The 5-member Celtic rock group won Fans' Choice Entertainer of the Year at the ceremony in Charlottetown, PEI. And one of the province's most accomplished musicians was also recognized last night. Tim Baker won Solo Recording of the Year for his album, The Festival.
Well, temperatures have been quite chilly in northerly flow over the last couple of days. So we're going to switch positions, though. We're going to see some warmer temperatures as we head towards the end of the weekend and into next week. I'll get into all the details coming up.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. The early bird prize deadline is midnight Friday, May 10th. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Well, the weekend is here, Ashley, and a bit of a turnaround coming for the weather finally. But Labrador has been particularly wet, right?
It certainly has been. Yeah, yesterday it finally started to let up, but quite a bit of rain. Let's take a look at how much rain has fallen over the last couple of days. Black Tickle picked up 128.6 millimeters of rain. Mary's Harbor 85, Cartwright 76. That included about 15 millimeters of rain from snow that melted down, and Port Hope Simpson about 58.7 millimeters of rain. So that, like I said, has since ended for the most part. And really through the weekend, this ridge of high pressure is essentially going to dominate the weather picture. It's going to sink a little bit further south. That is going to change eventually once it sinks further south. Is going to change the pattern that we have been stuck in for most of this week. And then we've got an area of low pressure just to the west that's going to bring some more showers later on. These are your highs today, 0 to about +4 up across the Big Land. Again, 1 to about 6 degrees for most of the island except the southwest, where again that weather has been much nicer. 11 to 12 degrees as the daytime temperatures. But as we see that shift in the winds, it's also going to come with a shift in the weather. So southern areas of the island are going to start to see that fog and much cooler temperatures. So we're sitting at about 3 degrees in St. John's. Feels more like 2 with that wind chill. Corner Brook, fairly chilly at the moment. Port aux Basques as well. Stephenville down to 7 degrees. Still double digits, so just barely in Winterland at about 10 degrees right now. And we do have some showers working their way through central, some heavier showers for the southwest coast. Now those are going to hang around for a couple of little bit longer and should taper off as we head through tonight. But yeah, some of these showers are fairly heavy, but again, they won't last too long. Future Track are doing a pretty good job as to where they are at the moment, and over the next couple of hours, those will end. Still looking at that onshore flow though, so fog will move back in tonight. The chances some drizzle will move back in as well. Overall, quiet up across Labrador. Just a chance of a few flurries in the mix tonight. But the good news is the rain is pretty much done. Just a trace expected to take us through to Saturday. Basically a trace to a couple of millimeters left to fall, and that's about it. 0 to 3 degrees overnight tonight. Winds is still out of the northeast, 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Most of Labrador sitting near or just below 0. And again, with the chance of a few flurries in the mix, but nothing that will accumulate. And then as we head into tomorrow, the west coast will start to clear. We're still hanging on to that onshore flow for a little while longer, but we will see that trend clearing. The avalanche, most of eastern Newfoundland will hang on to the cloud cover though, and the potential for drizzle, but the fog will let up, which will be nice. And Labrador, for the most part, will just be sitting in some cloud cover. You may see some showers, maybe a few flurries for the north coast. Temperatures tomorrow are going to sit between 5 and 7 degrees. Again, those northwesterly winds, 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Best weather, Burin Peninsula, where you'll hover around 11 tomorrow afternoon. Anywhere from 3 to 7 or 8 degrees for central and the south coast. The best chance of some showers will be in the morning, and then we should see some clearing skies, especially by the afternoon. It'll take a little while longer for the avalanche to clear out, but we're looking at temperatures between 9 and 14 degrees for the west coast. Your winds again northeasterlies 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Cooler for the northern peninsula. This will change, but for now you're going to hang on to 3 to 5 degrees. And Labrador, the rest of Labrador, anyway, for Nain, you'll be hovering around +1 tomorrow with the chance of some flurries. About 5 or 6 degrees for central and western portions of Labrador, but as that front moves in, you are looking at that chance of showers. And again, that will stick around at least through tomorrow, but by Sunday, most of us will be under that ridge of high pressure, and we will see the sun. I'll tell you all about that when I come back.
Can't wait. Thank you, Ashley. Well, you could call him one of the province's indie superheroes. Kevin Woolridge launched Heavy Sweater Comics in November. The growing operation now has 7 titles in print, and Woolridge says he's doing his best to bring local comics into the mainstream.
Well, with my table, I'm selling comics that I've published through the company. I'm the publisher behind Heavy Sweater Comics. There's a local comic company here, and we're publishing work, and it's all original stuff. I don't think a lot of people really know about it yet, and I think it's very exciting. It grew from self-publishing because I had done that for a long time. Some of these characters I've been drawing for 20 years, and I thought if I can do my own stuff and publish it and go the correct route to become a publisher, why not also publish other people? Because there are people here doing it and it's just sitting underneath their bed in a box. Why not get that material out there in the public?
I'm here with Heavy Sweater Comics. Kevin's been very nice and has published my collection of webcomics. It's just kind of a goofy webcomic that is about these two central characters, a boy and a girl. I never really exactly defined their relationship, but it was kind of a gag-a-day kind of strip. At one point I was doing it about 3 times a week, and then it kind of petered out when I started like a job, and so I haven't been doing it consistently for almost 10 years, so it was nice to go back and revisit it. Yeah. What Kevin is doing is amazing, and there's a lot of great comic makers in the province already, so this is just another way to help expose that.
I think I'm doing a little bit of a service just to try to get this history of comic strips especially out there. Because a lot of this material is no longer out there, you know. So Jennifer's was online and in the scope as well, and mine was in current. But that kind of material is kind of getting lost. It takes a while to build a brand and to get the name out there, and it's only been 5 months, you know. But anytime somebody hears about it, they get really excited. And the local comic community, cartooning community, are really excited about this work. Because in a way it's kind of lighting a fire underneath some of their butts, you know? Oh, I had an idea I'd been working on, but I didn't really see myself doing anything with it. But now there's a local publisher, maybe something can happen there. So it's been really good. Anybody can submit right now. My focus is still local for the moment, but eventually as it grows, I'd like to expand that because I'm seeing some really great submissions from other parts of Canada, some great stuff from the Maritimes as well. And once I have the kind of distribution network in place, I'd like to be able to publish some more stuff with a mandate of remaining mostly local.
Returning now to coverage of today's funeral for broadcasting legend Bob Cole. Family, friends, and fans were in attendance today at St. Thomas Anglican Church in St. John's to reflect on the life and legacy of the 90-year-old Hockey Night in Canada icon.
You were asked to do some of the eulogy here. What was that like for you to be asked?
Well, a tremendous honor. You know, Megan and Robbie, and Christian and Hillary are just the greatest friends. So to honor Bob and to share, you know, we have so many memories. I don't even know where I'll start and finish, but hopefully quickly. Anyway, unbelievable honor because Bob's a dear, dear friend who mentored me and was up to lots of mischief with me.
You know, there's been some great Newfoundlanders and Labradorian sports figures who've put the province on the map, but Bob gave us a special international reputation. I mean, he was highly respected. His voice is iconic. And, you know, I'd say he's up there with the Gallivants and the Foster Hewitts and that, but he's our hometown boy, and we took great pride every time he called the game. And the other thing, too, is Bob painted the game. You know, when you listen to Bob's voice, you knew exactly what was going on the ice. So, you know, he's done a great job, and he's paid a great service to Newfoundlanders and Labradorians for what he's done.
I don't think you can be any good in this business if you don't have passion. And when a game got big, or when a moment got big, nobody had the passion of Bob, and we loved being around that. And also, we know his family a little bit, and we wanted to come support them. I started in 2003. I was this young punk. Bob was a superstar already, and the thing that I loved about him the most was that he was very helpful. You know, I knew the rules, and one of the rules was never talk during play-by-play. But as long as I followed that rule, Bob was a fantastic teacher and a fantastic teammate.
Personally, just what an honor to be sitting beside him for the years that I did, how much I learned about broadcasting. I'd get a lecture every day on the way to the rink. Now, Greg, you know, stay out of the way. It's all about the fans. It's not about us. It's about the fans. And he loved the fans, he loved the game, and he loved the players in the game, and taught us so much about that.
As a kid growing up watching Montreal Canadiens playing all the time, back with Gil Fleur and Larry Rabbits and all them guys, Bob was I used to hear him on the radio. I'm 60 years old myself, just turned 60 on April 30th. And anyway, I was really interested in hockey as a kid. And listen to me and my dad used to listen to the games every night on Saturday night on hockey. I always had high respect for Bob.
Bob Cole means everything to me. It was always amazing watching him on Hockey Night in Canada. The best broadcaster ever, the Wayne Gretzky of commentary. No one's going to be able to fill this guy's shoes again. He was always so electric, and he always got you on the edge of your seat.
Just the reverence he had amongst the players, because he truly cared about the game, cared about the players, and he cared about the poetry that was on the ice. It wasn't a bunch of the stuff around it, the white noise. It was truly whistle to whistle, the magic that enchanted us every Saturday night. And you're right, it's not the same without him. There's very few like him. You know, Danny Gallivant, Foster, and Robert, and that's it. Only three.
Though I had instructed at my wedding, no speeches, please, thankfully, our father went against my wishes, took the mic, and told a few stories, naturally. One of the stories was from the very first hockey trip I got to tag along. I was 12, and he took me to New York. Dad and I traveled out to Long Island on this journey for the game Montreal at Islanders. And at the morning skate, I quietly tucked in beside him as he moved through his usual routine. He opened the wrong door in a hallway to where he thought was the coach's room and found goalie Billy Smith, alone in his own quiet spot. Dad apologized. "Oh, I'm so sorry." And Billy said, No, it's okay. Come on in. Who's this? We had a little chat. He asked me questions about me, my trip with my dad, my life back home in Newfoundland. We then continued down the hall to the correct door to the coach, and Dad told this coach about our error with goalie Billy Smith, to which the coach panicked slightly. You didn't talk to Billy Smith, did you? Nobody talks to Billy Smith before a game. Nobody. And Dad surmised in this impromptu speech at my wedding that it was somehow because of me, of my energy, why this private, superstitious, great goaltender chatted with me. And what Dad failed to realize, sorry, Dad, is that Billy Smith did not speak to that 12-year-old because of the little girl. Billy Smith spoke to me because of Dad, because of Dad's unique character, because of his sincerity, because of his utmost respect for the players who played the game he loved.
Artist Ting Ting Chen and her former local tour guide have captured international attention. The Newfoundland photographer has shown her award-winning work in Budapest, Barcelona, and some of her pieces are on display this week in the Emma Butler Gallery in St. John's. The CBC Radio's Gavin Sims swung by for a chat with the artist and her muse.
Mr. Sweet is one of my artwork that's in the exhibit right now in Emma Butler Gallery. And you can see that the model is right here, standing right here. And Mr. Sweet, is kind of like a portrait of real Robert. Robert really likes to eat sweets.
I actually have attention deficit, so I don't sit still very long. Usually we don't stand too long. So that's, if it's going a bit long, I mention it fairly quick.
Robert is a great model, and when he's doing a photo, he's a great, always make great poses. And in this photo, you can see he's licking the lollipop here, and with an amusing face. That's just naturally comes out of him. We first met in 2017 when I was traveling in Newfoundland as a tourist, and he toured me around in Newfoundland. And then we become friends since then. And we did more trips after that, obviously. And then that's why I began my journey as a photographer, because I was taking landscape photos at first. And then I shifted my focus a bit to the portrait. He's not like a model that I hire just for the photography, right? That's a commercial relationship, whatever. But we're just more like, we're friends. So when we're doing photos, just like something naturally happens. It's not like a commercial model sitting there and doing the photography. There's no emotions between us. But when I was doing his portraits, we have emotional connections because we're good friends in our life. So I also want my audience to feel this emotional connections through my artwork. So it's not just like a photo, but also a reflection of our friendship during the past 6 or 7 years. Right? Before I meet Robert, I would never imagine I would become a photographer, artist in my near future. So I think life is magic. When we traveled around, it just inspired wake something inside me that brings me further on my journey of being an artist.
China has launched an ambitious mission to the far side of the moon. The uncrewed spacecraft lifted off today. It's headed out on a 2-month mission to retrieve lunar rocks and soil from the side facing away from Earth. China is the first country to make such an attempt. The plan is for a lander to reach the surface and scoop up rocks and soil using a robotic arm before being carried back to Earth.
Bonus.
Well, it's Friday, so let's find out who's celebrating. Congratulations to Stanley and Ellen Saunders, who are celebrating their 60th anniversary. Happy 56th anniversary to Delano and Doreen Rose of Clarenville. Happy anniversary to Reverend Ralph and Shirley Moores. They're marking 60 years of marriage. Anniversary greetings going out to Curtis and Dorothy Pope of Mount Pearl. They've been together 50 years. Wishing Aidan and Gloria Noonan of Beta Verde a happy 55th anniversary today. Happy 50th anniversary to David and Valjean Tipple of St. John's. Greetings going out to Neil and Marie Reddy of Corner Brook on their 55th anniversary today. Wishing Bonnie and Wayne Hewitt of Gander a happy 51st anniversary. Best wishes to Glenn and Joan Hooper of Campbellton, who celebrate their 50th anniversary today. Happy 70th anniversary to Shirley and Garland Jennings of Paradise. Congratulations to Jack and Ruby Chipman of Bay Roberts on their 60th anniversary. Wishing Herb and Teresa Murin of St. John's a happy 58th anniversary. Congratulations to Kent and Lucy Nash of Hermitage. They've been together for 54 years. Happy 57th anniversary to Herman and Mary Firmage of Wareham. Now to some birthdays. Wishing Frank Morgan of Seal Cove a happy 95th birthday. Happy 90th birthday to William Parsons of Summerside. We're told he's still an active member of the local fire department. Happy 90th birthday also to Olive Earl from Morton's Harbor, now living in Lewisport. Best wishes to Flora Canning of Comfort Cove, Newstead, who's celebrating her 96th birthday. Happy 90th birthday to Virginia King from Belle Island. It's a 93rd birthday for Donald Noble of Victoria Cove, Gander Bay. Special birthday greetings to Annie Corrine of Point Lance, who turns 95 tomorrow. Fred Seward of Stephenville is celebrating his 90th birthday. We're told he watches Here and Now every evening. Thank you, Fred, and happy birthday. Best wishes going out to Christine Duffnays, who's celebrating her 100th birthday tomorrow. She's from the Bay St. George area and now lives in Kitchener, Ontario. Another milestone birthday. Rachel McKay and Robinsons turned 100 yesterday. She says the secret to living a long, happy life is to not let your worries get you down. Great advice. And finally, happy 101st birthday tomorrow to Josephine Woodfine, who's from Northern Bay and now lives in Paradise. Hope you have a wonderful birthday. And you know, another kind of celebration is right around the corner. Mother's Day is coming up next Sunday, and we want to shine a spotlight on some fabulous moms. Is there a mother in your life who goes that extra mile? Someone you think deserves a special shout out for all that they do? Well, we would love to hear about it, so please get in touch. You just email us at the address on your screen, hereandnow.nl@cbc.ca. Yep, looking forward to that. Hope we get some lovely stories, so please get in touch. So Ashley, the weekend is here and we've talked about how things are going to be turning around. I'm looking forward to Sunday in particular. It sounds like that's going to be the best day of the weekend.
Of the weekend for sure. We will see some sunshine, but it won't be as warm as you want it to be. Not yet, anyway.
Put on a sweater.
Yeah,
layer up.
Exactly. Taking a look at what's happening, though, there is an upper ridge of high pressure that is kind of dominating the weather picture. It's not going to completely clear us out by Saturday, but by the time we get into Sunday, the way that it's moving, we should actually see a bit of a bit less cloud cover through the day. That will be the story for most of eastern Newfoundland. We'll likely see some more cloud cover move in for the west, though, as the day goes on. And then up across Labrador, a little bit of a front will move through. That's going to bring some more showers to the west. Otherwise, hanging on to some sunshine. Now, temperatures are going to warm up quite dramatically across Labrador. 12 to 15 degrees as the daytime highs on Sunday. Nain, though, you're going to stay around 5 degrees through the day. And temperatures warming up again across a good chunk of the island. Now, we're still in onshore flow, which means all along the northeast coast will likely stay into the single digits. Depending on when that happens, I have 6 degrees for St. John's, but if we see a bit more sunshine, we may see a couple of degrees warmer than that. and down to 6 degrees in Port aux Basques. And you can see the reason why is because we've got those onshore winds. That will be the story as we head into Monday as well. This does show, or the southerly winds means we will see warmer temperatures across the board with the exception of the south coast. So it's your turn for some fog and drizzle and rain. We will see some rain move through most of the Big Land and then eventually reach the island by the time we get into the afternoon hours on Monday. Temperatures are going to be into the teens for most of us. About 15 degrees is what I have in St. John's. It'll take a while for that cloud cover, or rather the rain, to get towards us. So we should actually see a fairly nice day. 5 to 8 degrees along the south coast, west coast as well. Labrador, most of you sitting between 3 and 6 degrees with the exception of Happy Valley Goose Bay, where you will hover around 14 degrees. Now those double-digit temperatures will stick around through Tuesday. Wednesday, a bit of a drop. Some showers both days as well. And then for Central, you're looking at a big drop in temperatures by the time we get into Wednesday. Single digits, chances of some flurries later in the day. And then for Western Newfoundland, some showers Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and you will see your drop on Wednesday as well. Now, for Eastern Labrador, you're looking at some single digits by the time we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. And that's the story for Western Labrador as well, with some sunshine as we get towards midweek. Now, it has been gray and foggy, but it's a beautiful time to walk in the woods on a foggy day. Gerald sent this shot from Calls Harbour, so thank you so much for that. If you have any weather photos you'd like to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Oh, that looks like a great spot. I went for a walk in the woods this morning with the dogs, and it's definitely muddy paw season. Went straight into the bathtub when we got back. It's so muddy.
The worst season ever for the dogs.
Yeah, and one of my dogs has like little mops for paws, right? So it just sucks up all the water, all the dirt and mud. So,
like you said, directly into the tub.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it for us. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for watching.
Good night.